What is up, everybody? Welcome to Eagles Day, I guess. We are breaking down and reacting to the upcoming schedule release here in just about 10 minutes or so. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese. Give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. This is one of the more fun days in this off season. There's a lull. There's not much going on. We don't have OTAs. We don't have anything, honestly. So, needless to say, this is exactly why this is so exciting for anybody who goes to away games for the Eagles. This is a way to kind of plan yourself, plan your trips. This is a fantastic day. I know the text messages in my group of away people have already been blowing up today, so we'll see what we end up with.
Yeah, it's overreaction day. That's what we do here. It's just like the NFL draft. That's why I love it so much. Is we're going to, as soon as we get it, we're going to go game by game, do quick previews. Players that could be on the rise, breakout stars, rookies. We're going to go through it all. I'm going to have my win-loss prediction, and so is Ryan. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to comment your thoughts on this schedule. There's been some leaks, but not confirmation. So we'll see how this goes. But I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Like, what are you most excited about? What are you looking forward to the most as we get ready for OTAs and training camp moving forward?
Yeah, listen, obviously with the schedule coming out shortly here, it's always nice to kind of see, maybe the landscape of how their season ebbs and flows. And, last year we had the gauntlet, and, we were all so worried about that. And, it's funny how it ended up not really mattering in the end. But, again, I just kind of hope for a nice, easy flow of a schedule, nothing too crazy, nothing too hard. And honestly, some 1:00 games would be nice. As somebody who goes to Eagles games, I gotta tell you, the primetime games are killer. It's days off of work, it's tiredness, it's all that. So, really. But outside of that, man, I just want them to put on their jerseys and get out there and start, forming this team.
The 1 p.m. take is the correct take.
For us old people, yeah. Like, I don't mind getting up at 6 a.m. and drinking all day. But man, if I'm over 8:00, that's too long.
I agree, man. I think, what do we have, like 2 or 3 1:00 games last year?
3 total 1:00 games, and only one of them was at home. It was complete BS.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm sure not a lot's going to change in 2024. The Eagles, at least on paper, are kind of champions again of the offseason. A lot of people, hoisting that offseason trophy yet again. Well, for me personally, the proof has to be in the pudding. The Eagles definitely have question marks. Leading off with Jaylen Herz. Should we talk about Jaylen Herz before we get ready?
Absolutely. He's coming off of a rough season. Let's be honest. He was inconsistent. There were times where he looked like the best quarterback in the league, and there were times he really looked like the worst starter in the league. Like, so I think it's more or less of, you want to see him getting back to what he was so good at 2 years ago, and you want to see improvements in as far as reading defenses, reading what they're giving him, picking just in general, not necessarily him, but as a team, picking up blitzes. Like, that just seemed to not happen at all. There's some things that we want Jaylen to improve on and get back to what we thought we saw a few years ago.
Yeah, I've got some notes. Let me get into it. Just a few. All right. Number one, Jaylen Herz needs to make some progress in a few key areas. Obviously, number one for me is attacking that middle area of the field. Jaylen Herz simply didn't do enough of it. In 2022, Hertz threw to the middle of the field 17% of the time. In 2023, that went down to 11%, man. And I would love to see Hertz become a bigger threat again with his legs in 2024. That was a huge. I know he was hurt and
Right.
all that kind of stuff, but man, in 2022, Jaylen Herz had 7 rushes of 20 yards or more. In 2023, just 2. Getting Hertz more involved in the run game, utilizing his legs, getting defenses back to second guessing is everything. And then you talk about the turnovers. Jaylen Hertz forced the ball into way too many tight coverages in 2023. Yeah, the offensive scheme didn't really give him a lot of leeway there, but his turnover-worthy throw rate increased from 1.8% in 2022 to 2.3% last year, cutting down the hero ball. Like you said, utilizing the checkdowns, simply taking what the defense gives him will go a long way in kind of getting Jaylen Hertz back on track. And the next one is obviously, man, like how they handle the blitz is arguably the biggest factor to success this year, because I expect the defense, and we'll get into a little bit, to kind of take its lumps. But this offense is, and the offense becoming an elite offense is by far the quickest and most logical path to this team becoming a contender again. I want to see Jaylen Hertz with better pocket management and movement in 2024. Hertz does have some bad habits still, man. This is a guy who still bails out of pockets, clean pockets, way too often. And I want to see the Eagles get rid of the ball faster. You had 10 quarterbacks in 2023 get the ball out with 2 seconds or less last year. That is the current trend in the NFL. And adding a coordinator like Kell Moore, who is, absolutely going to utilize a lot more motion, utilize a lot more 21 personnel, 2 running backs on the field, getting guys like Devontae Smith into space, utilizing that skill set. It's definitely all signs pointing in the right direction. So all in all, I do think it's a realistic expectation to see Jaylen Hertz kind of return to that 2022 MVP form. But like I said, proof is in the pudding. We can all celebrate the Eagles on paper over and over and over again. That's what we do every single year. But I'm trying to take that wait and see mode. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, listen, you're not wrong. Obviously, I think for this offense to work, Jaylen's hey, what up, Anthony? Jaylen's certainly got to prove to himself and to many others that he is the man, and he can be the man for this team. We have loaded up, given him some more weapons, and I think I think with the new coordinator, with everything that we've done in this offseason, it's on him. And if he fails again, I think then the serious question needs to be had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. We have Anthony in the house. What's going on, Anthony? Thanks for joining. I want to know what happens if Hertz doesn't do his job, especially with all this talent. That's an interesting comment, because then a lot more questions will definitely be asked, and a lot more questions than answers in 2024 for sure, because I think Kell Moore is that guy that should open up this offense, especially for Jaylen Hertz, because let's be honest, man. Kell Moore is a guy that's going to want to stretch defenses horizontally. Last year I think the goal was to a lot of hero ball. It was a lot of just vertical kind of football. Kell Moore's kind of the opposite. Not saying he's not an aggressive offensive coordinator, but he's going to want to get defenses going left to right, and utilizing that to kind of get defenses off balance and then attack downfield. But more specifically, what we're going to see is a lot more Jaylen Hertz under center, for better or worse. We have not seen Hertz do a lot of that. And how that impacts the run game with Jeff Stoutland, is going to be interesting. Could that jeopardize Jaylen Hertz's mobility? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. And, if you want to, look at the opposite end and play devil's advocate, the obvious one is, These are players that are for the first time going to be getting used to this major change in scheme.
Sure.
And I'm more specifically talking about the offensive line. You're going to see a lot more outside zone when it comes to their rushing game, and you're going to see receivers be asked to run concepts that utilizes more routes based on timing, not just isolation down the field routes. And you're going to see Kell Moore do a lot more under center and asked to kind of turn his back to the defense on play action. And I don't know if he's really shown that he can hit those hot routes when the defense blitzes, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. That's that's the storyline for me, is Jaylen Herz and Kell Moore becoming this in 2024.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely going to be, and you said, speaking of the offensive line, again, this is the first time they're trotting out there without Jason Kelce, who has been the rock of that offensive line the past 10 years. So there's certainly a lot of adjustment that everybody is going to have to do. And, again, some will be good, some will be bad. Again, you just hope that the bad is mitigated, and, that they can kind of figure out in training camp how this all works for them. So,
yep. Merwin says, okay, I've had enough of Calvin on the counter, so he's gone to bed. All right. Does Jaylen Herz become the new Tobias Harris? No. Jaylen Herz is a gamer. Tobias doesn't have a 1/10 of the baller that Jaylen Herz has in his blood, man. That is a terrible comparison. Anthony says, happy schedule day. Daniel's in the house. Happy Wednesday, man. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
Dennis says, I want to know when we hold Blankenship accountable for some of his bad missed tackles last year, which caused him to get hurt, plus the 8 touchdowns he gave up. I thought that was Bradbury. 8 touchdowns. That doesn't sound right.
It sounds like a lot.
It's a little high. I will check PFF, which is not always accurate, but
sure.
I'll check that now. But I agree with Dennis, is that I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on Reed Blankenship, just like Ryan, as we have said on multiple shows in the past. It is now 8:03, by the way. We should be getting some sort of notification. So Ryan, let me know.
Yeah, I'm on it. I have others on it.
Love it. I think we all can agree that Reed Blankenship is at his best as that third safety in that rotation. Not to say that he shouldn't be on the field, but I think we're still very much hopeful that a guy like Justin Simmons can kind of come in and solidify this position. That's not to say, and then you've got, kind of the elephant in the room for OTAs and training camp, which is Cooper DeJean, and where he's going to fit in the secondary. And honestly, the answer to that is yes. I think he's a slot corner, and eventually he'll be probably molded just like CJ Gardner-Johnson as that slot corner safety kind of hybrid. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, listen, that's going to be certainly a huge thing here. Is what are they going to do with Cooper DeJean? And listen, if he stays at corner, great. That solidifies the youth movement, at that position. And yeah, listen, if they bring in somebody like Justin Simmons, to me, that tells me Coop is staying at corner. And they bring in Simmons to go with CJ Gardner-Johnson, and then have Blankenship as your third safety, as we've been saying, by the way, all off season.
All right, we got the schedule.
I have something here.
I just got it from Jimmy Kemsky.
Okay. Tim McManus.
Where did you see it?
Tim McManus.
Does he have a graphic by chance?
He does, yes. He sure does.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, let me share my screen. Tim, you are the man. We appreciate you, Tim McManus.
Thank you, and sir. So here it is, folks, your NFL schedule for the
let me get some comments quick, and then we will break it down week by week here. And by the way, if you guys are watching live, please like this video. We are kind of the pregame for Edge of Philly Sports Live, which goes live in about 30 minutes. So stay tuned for that. We are just warming everybody up here. We talked about that. Birds Nation, what's up, Cass? Thanks for joining. It's Sidney Brown time. I like that, although he is recovering from injury, but we are both very high on Sidney Brown and his ability to kind of fly around in that box close to the line of scrimmage. That's where he thrives. I'm hoping Tanner McKee's arm is ready to throw to wide.
Yeah, Anthony. He's throwing water bottles to Jaylen Herz. That's about it.
All right, let's talk about the schedule. We're going to go week to week here. Ryan, you're going to say win or loss as we talk about this. Week 1, September 6th. It is at 8:15 p.m. on a Friday.
So
Eagles and
so weird.
Eagles and Packers. For the second time in the last 3 years. The Eagles last defeated Green Bay 40-33 in 2022. You look at the Packers last year, they beat the Bears in week 18. They snuck in the playoffs as that number 1 seed in the NFC with a 9-8 record. And they're kind of the media darlings of the NFL right now. They had a win over the Cowboys in that NFC wildcard round. And what are your thoughts on this? Win or loss?
Unfortunately, I do have this as a loss. Before the schedule came out, we all knew the opponents, and obviously we knew the Brazil game well in advance. I just thought this was going to be a little too much, for a team that's running a new offense, running a new defense, to finally get out there and have to travel halfway around the world. I think, unfortunately, I had this as a loss.
Okay. I'll go a win here for the Eagles. I disagree. I think there's a lot of fun players on that Green Bay team, but I don't buy the hype just yet. They have your boy, Edgerrin Cooper.
Oh,
We are both big on Edgerrin Cooper, man. From run defense, from a pass rush perspective, Edgerrin Cooper was one of the guys that we love. That linebacker has some coverage instincts that are developing. They also drafted Javon Bullard, who I really, really liked out of Georgia, who can be kind of that versatile safety, also play in the slot. Man,
they got some good.
Yeah, it was kind of an up and down free agency period for the Packers. They lost John Runyon, Darnell Savage, and Aaron Jones, but also added Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, who I really liked for the Eagles. That was a great free agency signing.
Yeah, sure.
Give me a W here, guys. Let us know in the comment section for this week 1 matchup with Green Bay. You guys going to Brazil, or I'm not going to Brazil?
I wish. Hey, listen, somebody want to pay for me? I'll be there. I'll do whatever you want. I'll report live from Sao Paulo for sure.
All right, let's roll on. So I've got a W week 1. Ryan's got an L. Let's roll into week number 2, September 16th against the Atlanta Falcons. The Eagles and Falcons will play for the first time since week 1 of 2021. That was when Devontae Smith caught his first career touchdown in his NFL debut. It was a 32-6 road win for the Birds. Atlanta last year ended the season with a 7-10 record, but it's got a solid roster. It's got a very strong defense. They made the big splash of free agency with Kirk Cousins, for better or worse. But what are your thoughts on the Falcons game week 2?
Yeah, listen, I think this is I think I was a year early on the Falcons. I think they win the division in a pretty weak division, but mind you, but still, I do think this is a win. It's Kirk Cousins still. It's prime time. We all know how that goes. So I still think it's a win, but it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the Falcons and how they take that next step in 2024. A breakout star to know is Arnold Ebiketie. He's a guy that had 28 pressures and 2 forced fumbles. He was a former second-round pick last year. So there's a guy that could definitely be on the rise. The Falcons also drafted Braylon Trice, a guy that I was really high on for the Eagles in that day 2 area. So I agree. Let's go.
Wins.
Maybe after a high of beating the Green Bay Packers and coming home, maybe more of a sloppy game, but the Eagles, I think, maybe kick a field goal there and get the W late in the fourth quarter. So I've got 2-0. You've got 1-1. Let's roll on to week 3, and that is the Saints. Finally, Ryan, we get a 1 o'clock Sunday game. We did it. We freaking did it. And after 2 back-to-back primetime games, the Eagles will take on the Saints September 22nd. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, this was a game that I have scheduled in my mind. Oh wow. Apparently the Phillies are just piling it on right now.
Yes.
So this is a game that I've been wanting to go to as an away game for.
I've been there.
Well, I've been to New Orleans. It just never did the game. In fact, the last time they were in New Orleans, I was planning on going. Unfortunately, some things kind of happened, and it didn't really end up working. But anyway, so we're trying to right that wrong, and I want to go down there and listen. I was hoping for a little bit of a later game because New Orleans can get pretty friggin' hot. But September, I think it'll be all right. I'll survive. But man, I'm excited about this game. I think New Orleans. It's kind of again an average team in a very bad division. I don't see how this should be a loss at all. I don't like their team. I think they're on the decline, and I have this as a win.
Yeah, the last 3 meetings the Eagles have played against the Saints have been in Philadelphia. You go back to that 2018 divisional round playoff game, the last time these teams met. And you look at last year, the Saints won 4 out of 5 of the last 5 games to end the year, but ultimately missed out on the playoffs. The Saints no longer have Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston, guys like that. But on the flip side, they did add Chase Young, Willie Gay. They did extend the Honey Badger. And they have their top 2 draft picks. They added Fuaga and McKinstry, guys that could make impact on year 1. I have a quick Saints story. So I was down for the last time in New Orleans for an Eagles tailgate party, and they put us in a bar that was like with a balcony on the 2nd level, which was at a corner light right in front of the stadium. And what's one of the cool things that the Saints do is they have these like pregame parties where they have these like open air buses, like 2nd level buses where people are at this on the 2nd level of like a double decker.
It's like a convertible double decker.
Yes, exactly. And they drive around and have a DJ and party.
Yeah.
So of course,
great.
Where our balcony was and where the Saints party bus was, it was right on the corner of a street where a street light was. So what the Philly tailgate was so smart to give us nothing but Eagles, green, black, and like white.
Silver, yeah, white, yeah.
Just literally boxes of beads.
That's
and
great.
What do you think happened? The bus comes to a stop at the streetlight, literally like 20 feet away from us. And it was like just a tsunami of beads just flowing into the bus.
So good. That's so good.
It was a lot of fun. Anyway, going back to the Saints.
Anyway,
let's see. Yeah, we talked about McKinstry. Like we talked about Fuaga. I'm going to give this an L. I'm going to give this it's an away game. It's going to be their kind of surprise loss.
Okay.
For some reason, my gut feeling is
can't go against the gut. I get it when you're doing schedule wins and losses.
All right, so you're at 2-1. I'm at 2-1. Next up, week 4 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another Sunday 1 o'clock game. What's your vibe?
We're winning this one. We're getting a little bit of a revenge, and we're gonna get a dub there in Tampa.
Yeah, obviously we all know about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seeing this team the 5th time since 2021. Obviously, they got the better of the birds in that wild card round. They won the NFC South with a 9-8 record. They re-signed Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Levante David, recently Antoine Winfield Jr. They did not re-sign Shaq Barrett and Devin White, who is now with the Philadelphia Eagles, which is interesting. I gotta think the Eagles get the W here in that revenge game in the regular season.
Yeah.
We know the game plan here. The Bucs are going to blitz and blitz and blitz Jaylen Hertz, and this is going to be a great test, week 4, I think, for Kell Moore and Jaylen Hertz to see if they're on the same page. Let's go W. Are you good with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I got. I'm writing them all down for each of us. So,
all right, you're writing it down. All right,
yeah. We're both 3-1.
All right, cool. All right, next we have a bye week 5, which is a bit of a surprise. Any thoughts on the early bye?
That sucks. I hate early buys. I'd much rather it's so much more beneficial for a team to take a breather later in the season after you've been through 10 plus games. The fact that, granted they certainly will have a lot of travel in them as they decided to, hey, let's play the entire NFC South, in the first month. Oh, and by the way, the other game will be in Brazil. So I get it. It probably would be a nice refresher restart. And that's what I'm trying to take out of all this. But I don't like early buys.
Yep. Anthony says, did you see Twin Peaks while in New Orleans? I will add, I went with a group of guy friends, and the things that you see around 4 a.m. on Bourbon Street.
Oh my God, it's scary.
You can't get out of your mind.
No, but as long as you just shove your face full of Lucky hot dogs, it's not going to matter.
It's a different animal.
It's definitely different. Yeah, I was there for a cousin's wedding when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And it was just unbearably hot. It was July. And just, oh my God, it was absolutely insane. Yeah, I have way too many fun stories from that time. So I definitely want to go back down.
All right. So we're now looking at back-to-back 1:00 games. We're into week 6 against the Cleveland Browns, October 13th here. You look at the Birds and the Browns. This is an opponent you're usually used to playing in the preseason.
Right.
But the Browns and the Eagles play in the regular season for the first time since 2016. The last time these two have played, 2020, the Browns won. And I remember Rob having some drinks during our watch party and going off on Cleveland Browns fans who just bombarded.
That was the infamous Rob.
Rob brings it up all the time. It was one of the epic.
I gotta go back and look at that.
I might have to dig that up. The Browns added Michael Hall Jr. in the draft. They added one of our guys, Zach Zinter, in the draft, who we like a lot. He was an excellent run blocker. A little stiff coming off an injury, but I thought that was a great selection. What are your thoughts on the Browns game?
Yeah. Listen, I still cannot trust a team with Deshaun Watson as their quarterback. I just can't. Ever since everything's happened with him, he has been so inconsistent. I just cannot. I just cannot get it. Past that. So I have that as a win. And yeah, I think they win big actually.
Yeah. I like their odds too here. We have Anthony saying, I can't wait to go to New Orleans. It's so much fun, man.
Yeah.
Food is epic. I'm a big foodie, so if you love food, you're going to have a blast. Make sure you check out the French Quarter. The French Quarter is just an amazing time.
Honestly, I probably had the best time off of Bourbon Street. Like it was like 10 at night. I was there with my brother, and we just happened to walk into this like bar. You don't even know what's going. It looks like a bar, and behind the bar is like an auditorium. And this like I'm big in the indie rock scene, and this random indie rock band that we both love was just playing in New Orleans. Like we didn't even know it. It was
That's
like a
all.
show, and we just happened to stumble upon it. Paid $5 to go see one of our favorite bands just live in New Orleans. It was awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so fun. The thing about New Orleans and specifically Bourbon Street is you have to be careful because everywhere you go is like 2 for 1. Buy a beer, get a free shot. 3 for
Yeah.
1. And
Mhm.
then as soon as like 8 o'clock hits, like 8 p.m., it's like you're looking at $10-$15 beers. Like
Yeah.
the
I love that there's like enough space in between the buildings sometimes that you'll find a guy that's sitting on like a milk crate with a keg of beer, just pumping out beers in
yeah.
solo cups and selling them. Like as if that's like completely normal, you know?
It's worth going. It's a lot of fun. Blackened Gator Bites, outstanding. The bread pudding, as good as it gets. Anyway, let's roll on to week 7 against the Giants. My birthday, October 20th.
What did you have
for win.
Oh, good. Okay, got it.
Win against the Browns. New York Giants here, October 20th here, which is my birthday, week 7. That's going to be a lot of fun. What's your gut feeling?
Yeah, that's a win. We're not losing to the Giants. Giants just absolutely have a piss poor roster. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with the move. Yeah, great. Malik Neighbors could be a difference-making wide receiver. You still have Daniel Jones. So I don't know what you were doing. You had an opportunity, you blew it. So your franchise sucks. Easy.
Yeah. They lost Xavier McKinney. They lost Saquon Barkley. They did add Devin Singletary back. But they did add Malik Neighbors. They did add Tyler Nubin, some draft guys. And to be real, like these games are, you never know. They're
You're right. It's divisional games. They're always tough regardless. But
give me a W. Give me a W. Let's roll on.
There you go.
All right. Moving on to week 8 against the Cincinnati Bengals. What time is this game? 4:25. All right, so we just had 4 straight 1 o'clock games, which makes me happy. But the last time these two played, the game ended in a tie, man, at Lakewood Financial Field. One of the 2 ties in the all-time series. You look at last year, Joe Burrow getting hurt. The Bengals won 4 of his last 6 games, but they finished at the bottom of an amazing AFC North and missed the playoffs, man. What's your vibe?
Listen, a healthy Joe Burrow is scary. With the weapons, I could easily, again, hostile crowd. Probably not a lot of people are clamoring to go on a road trip to Cincinnati. Just throwing that out there. But I will say this looks like a loss here. Cincy is a good team, and when healthy, they can beat you in a multitude of different ways. So.
Yep, this game will be all about the defensive line and getting pressure on Burrow. The big name to watch here is Amarius Mims. They drafted him in the first round. He's a guy that is a little bit raw, but has amazing tools. Looks to be their right tackle of the future. I look at the Eagles attacking Amarius Mims there week 8. But I give me the L. The secondary is still hot, and defensive line. Like I said at the start of the show, the proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah.
At this point, those skill position players are too good. Let's roll on to the Jaguars week 9. It's a Sunday night football game, 8:20.
This one sees Dougie P returning to Lincoln Financial Field. Last time they were there, it was rainy. It was ugly. But I still think this team is not, has kind of stopped the ascend that they've kind of been on and they're kind of plateaued. And I think the Eagles can match up really well against them. They lost some weapons for Trevor Lawrence, and yeah, I think they're going the wrong way personally. So I think this is a dub.
All right. You look back, and since 2010, the Eagles have won 4 straight games against Jacksonville. The last time these two played was in 2022. And the Jaguars last year lost 5 of the last 6 games to end the year and were eliminated from playoff contention on the last day of the regular season. Yeah, I don't like their draft picks especially in that day 2 of Mason Smith. I thought that was a major reach.
Yep.
Give me the W here for the Eagles. Week 9. Let's roll on to the Dallas Cowboys. What's your gut feeling?
Sorry, I was taking a bite. Listen,
Cowboys, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The Cowboys were kind of quiet this free agency. They lost a lot on the offensive side of the football. Tony Pollard, Tyron Smith, Tyler Biadasz. They re-signed Ezekiel Elliott, who does not move the needle one single bit. They added Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe to kind of fill those holes on the offensive line. But I don't buy it. I think this is a team that's definitely taking a step back this year. They don't have that O-line being a strength of their team anymore. It could be arguably bottom tier if those rookies don't improve. And I'm not a big fan of Tyler Guyton. So, but it is the Dallas Cowboys, which is going to be a huge game, obviously. So it is in Dallas. I'm going to go Dallas gets the W.
Okay. I'm going to go win. I think this is the year we sweep the Cowboys. I don't think they did anything. In fact, I thought they went backwards. They had an opportunity, but they went backwards. And Dak isn't getting any younger. Neither is that offensive line. Even though again they brought in 2 rookies, they're going to struggle a bit. One is a project. And Guyton needs a lot of work, and Cooper Beebe. Again, second rounder guard. He certainly looks amazing. But he's gonna take his lumps. So I'm going to win.
All right, rolling on to week 11. Another primetime game here on Thursday Night Football against the Commanders. The Commanders are on a complete shift. We've got Jaden Daniels, Zach Ertz, Tyler Biadasz, Frankie Luvu, Austin Eckler, Marcus Mariota, Jeremy Chin. They had a sneaky solid draft too, I think, with Johnny Newton and Mike Samerstill and Ben Sinnott, and that Brandon Coleman is the big question mark at left tackle. What's your vibe?
Yeah, listen, I definitely like what the Commanders did in the offseason here, but this is a home game. And I don't see the Eagles losing at home to the Commanders. They just don't have enough talent, or at least talent enough that overcome some of the rookie mistakes that Daniels is going to go through.
Yeah.
It might be ugly, to be perfectly honest.
I don't buy the Commanders hype. I'm excited. Let me take that back. Unfortunately, I think the Commanders are righting the ship. I think they're in the right direction, moving in the right direction, but
Agreed.
not 2024. I think there's a W.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right, Dubs, all around.
Moving on to the Rams, November 24th. Another primetime game on Sunday Night Football. What's your thought on the Rams?
Yeah, this one I feel like might be one of those kind of sneaky trap type games, traveling across the country. It's a primetime game. And yeah, listen, the Rams are, again, you don't really ever know what you're getting with the Rams. One year they're good, the next year they're terrible, the next year they're good again. I just have a feeling that this is going to be a letdown game, and we're gonna end up losing this one.
I'm with you. Give me the L on this one. I think they made a really good signing in Cameron Curl. That was one of the better signings I wanted for the Eagles then. Look at their draft. They did add kind of the Florida State brothers and Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. I'm excited to watch how those two look together. But like you said, and this is in LA, correct? So
Yeah.
there's going to be a ton of Eagles fans there.
Well, that's true. That is
and
true.
this is the big, like Anthony said, this is the big storyline here for the Rams. Like,
True.
Aaron Donald's retirement, makes their roster look worse. But, Darius Williams, Jonah Jackson, Cam Curl, they brought back Kevin Dotson. They also added Blake Corum. We'll see. Give me the L. We're both L's.
Yeah. Right now you're 7-4. I'm 8-3.
All right, let's roll on to the Ravens here. The Eagles and Ravens play a regular season game for just the 7th time ever, man. The last time the Eagles traveled to Baltimore was in 2016. The Ravens, we all know, in 2023, 13-4, best in the NFC North, top seed in the conference, man. What's your vibe?
Yeah, listen, again, I think this is going to be a fun game to go to, let me tell you, because I'll probably about 99% going to be there. But unfortunately, I'm giving them the loss on this one. Baltimore is a really, really talented team. An away game, it's late in the year. Again, I think they just are coming off a disappointing matchup against the Rams and go right into the Ravens. So it's a tough little stretch personally for the Eagles. So I have them losing this one.
Give me the L as well. Okay. The good news for the Eagles, they lost Patrick Queen and Geno Stone. Patrick Queen, we all know about him. Geno Stone's a really good cover safety. Cover safety. And the bad news is Derrick Henry, man. This will be the game to watch the Eagles front seven, and if they can improve against the run, because Derrick Henry's coming for sure. Week 13. Both L's. We're moving on to week 14. That is the Panthers, man. Second year, Bryce Young. What are your thoughts?
Oh my God, we're gonna win by 72. The Panthers are just not good. Yes, are they improving? Sure, but not by any means to be considered an NFL franchise right
now. Give me a W. This is the first time the Eagles and Panthers have played since 2018. Last time they met was in 2021. The Eagles left Carolina with a 21-18 win. I actually remember that game. The Panthers were 2-15 last year, but the storyline is second year Bryce Young. They added some big players in the draft, some big names that you will love. Xavier Legette,
sure.
Jonathan Brooks, running back, Trevin Wallace, one of my favorites, linebacker, and your boy JT Sanders.
Yeah, that is true. They did. Listen, like I said, they are improving, but they still have miles and miles to go.
Give me the W. Moving on to the Steelers, Week 15, December 15th, 4:25 game. What's your thoughts?
This is another win. I think this is the easiest stretch of the season. These 3 games: Panthers, Pittsburgh, and Washington. But yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers. They brought in Russell. They brought in Fields. Who the hell knows who's going to be the starter at this point? I'm sure Russell have imploded by then, and Fields will have pissed off his whole offensive line. But yeah, listen, they don't really have much going on, outside of that. Obviously, I like some of their weapons, but again, I just don't know what this team is, and I think this should be a victory.
I'm gonna go L here. I'm gonna agree with Anthony. You look at the Eagles, they have not lost to the Steelers at home since 1965. They most recently beat them in 2022, 35-13. I actually low-key remember that game because I was at a wedding. And I've covered the Eagles the last several years for a long time, and I wasn't able to do post game shows. But I remember like being at a wedding and watching the game at the reception, like under the dinner table, and
Right.
like I think that was like Boston Scott or no, who was it wasn't Boston Scott. Who was the little guy? Oh my gosh, he went
Sproles?
nuts. Sproles went nuts in that game, I believe.
There you go.
Is that correct?
I think so.
Maybe.
That would
I don't know.
have been right timing. That would have been right timing.
Kenny Pickett revenge game.
Let's go.
Steelers also added Patrick Queen. That is important to note.
Yeah, they did.
So
I'll keep it.
They also lost it. They traded Deontay Johnson. They were 10-7 last year, eliminated in the wild card round. That QB room is nuts. I'll go L here just for the sake of breaking the trend. David says Steelers win. That's funny. Steelers will implode and need a new coach. Let's roll on to Week 16 against the Commanders. Finally, a 1:00 game.
Yeah, but again, still not at home. The fact of the matter is we only have two home 1:00s. I mean, what the hell? We had one last year. I just want a drink at 6 a.m, people. Like, come on, is it that hard to help me out here? Lord. Anyway, listen, I think they sweep the Commanders as well. While this is in the dump that is the Washington Commanders Stadium, I still think the Eagles get the victory here.
It's the Commanders. Like, there's probably going to be like Jaylen Herz like resting, and they think they can walk over the Commanders, and the Commanders get a sneaky victory that is meaningless in their season. I'm going to go Washington with the W in this one. Week 17, chalk this. It's what the Eagles will win this game.
Right now, you have them at 8-7.
Do I really?
11-4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you do 8-7. I have them at 11-4.
Jesus. Give me the W here against the Cowboys.
Okay. Listen, I think I originally had them sweeping the Cowboys, but I just realized that 11 wins is really high. So I was going to have them lose to the Giants because, last game won't matter. But also, David, spot on, by the way. I'm gonna give them the loss here to the Cowboys. I think Cowboys are trying to sneak into the playoffs at this point, where the Eagles, I would assume at this point, given what we've seen, have clinched the division.
And then Week 18, give the Eagles a W here. This will be a game that's over by halftime as the Eagles win the division. What are your thoughts?
Listen, I'm going to go with a loss here because Tanner McKee is going to be playing a lot in this game.
I love it.
So I think they rest all their starters, and they're going to lose to the Giants.
All right. So where are we at? What's the final tally?
You have it 10-7.
Jesus.
And I have 11-6. Not bad. Not bad for the first crack, first look, first. Again, we still got to sleep on it. We still got to dissect it more. This will and can change throughout the course of the next 3 months.
Oh, it's going to change quite. All right. Final takeaways on the schedule before we get ready for EOP Live.
Yeah, listen. As you say, we're looking at the schedule, and the schedule makers didn't do us any favors as far as continuing to play us on primetime for us older fans that do not like primetime games. But I will say tomorrow morning I'm going to go in and take a whole crap ton of days off from work. Lots of Mondays, I'll tell you that. Listen, I think the way that the division game. Thank you, Kevin. The way that the way that the division games are kind of spread out a little bit, I like. I don't mind the end of the year Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. I think that's actually a good way to kind of split them. And yeah, I don't know. I think there aren't any gauntlets. There aren't any like, oh man, look at this stretch of 3, 4, 5 games. So I do like that. I just wish we'd have more damn 1 o'clocks.
Yeah, that week 10, week 11 stretch, November 10th, they play at Dallas, and then that's a 4:25 game. And then week 11, a Thursday game at 8:15 against the Commanders. So that sucks. I don't like that one bit, man.
That's not ideal either.
Set up for the NFC East. Anthony says 9-8. Ryan, come hang out at the Chiefs Stadium with me. That's what winning looks like. We have Patton House. The Eagles are not the Chiefs.
Pay for it on there.
Got an easy schedule. By the way, I hope the Chiefs kicker breaks his leg. What's going on here? Let's wrap it up. We got to get ready for EOP Live.
Yes, that's true.
Ryan,
all right.
Plugs. Time's up.
Yeah, listen. Thank you guys for joining us here for the release. You can find me right here. Go ahead and give me a follow. I would kindly appreciate that. And yeah, normally scheduled Monday, 6 o'clock football smack talk show, 9 o'clock party on Broad with this guy. And then Tuesdays, 8 o'clock for the Birds of the Round Table, again with this guy. And Shane and David, I think personally the best Eagles show out there. And if you don't listen to it, watch it. What are you waiting for? So, but other than that, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Listen, download it, like, follow, share, subscribe, like, share, other buttons, hit them all. Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, back to you.
All right, guys. We will open the door here for EOP Live, which will be going live any second now. One last plug. Make sure you check out Trending in the AM with Phil Stifle, talking more NFC schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as Sixers, and you name it. All the top storylines. He is Ryan Reese. I am Dibes. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.